Yo, what is good? This is exactly how I made 4.1k yesterday and today. I was gonna make a video yesterday about my day then. I was all break even today, so all the profits on this video are literally from yesterday's trades, which are these ones, and I'm gonna go over them. So let's get into FX replay, shall we? Okay, so coming into the morning, we had a 30-minute bullish. Don't glitch on me. Coming into the morning, we were opening up a 30-minute bullish after we generated low resistance liquidity at this rejection wick with some buy side liquidity. We had high time frame low resistance leading up to this 4 hour, which was my actual draw on liquidity. Down here, we swept a weekly internal low right here, I think it was, and protecting this low currently. So at this point, I'm extremely bullish. I'm expecting price to retrace a little bit to then keep moving higher. So in this case, what I'm looking for is exactly this. Price generated low resistance liquidity. I noticed we got a great reaction. We started disrespecting high time frame bearish PDAs and respecting bullish. Right here, we were opening up a 30-minute bullish at market open. So what I'm looking for is scaling down to the lower time frame. I see that we have generated low resistance at on the lower time frame as well. So not only do we have high time frame low resistance leading up to our high time frame draw, we have low resistance or low time frame low resistance liquidity leading up to a short-term draw. So in reality, I'm looking for price to open lower or generate liquidity before manipulating to then get our move up. So as you can see, market opens and market opens 9:30, actually puts in a beautiful wick. We took out some of the low resistance, but we did keep a lot of it intact. That's all I really wanted to see. I love it when price generates liquidity before my take profit and then gets manipulation, making it an even more obvious draw. So as you can see, we get the generation and then price manipulates down into this 30-minute fair value gap where we then get a beautiful displacement candle. Okay, in this case you can see, oh hey, what the fuck, there's no 1-minute IFVG. There was a 30-second IFVG somewhere in this boat. I don't have it pulled up because I have it on Tradeovate and it'll be a bitch to scroll back a day to go find it, but there's a beautiful 30-second. I'm sure you guys seen this on Instagram somewhere. And going break even at the 9:30 wick, targeting a 1-to-1 for some buy side liquidity. You can see that this shit banked. Perfect setup. If you were holding this to the 4 hour, you got a brutal break even. Unfortunately, I go for the piece of the pie, or for my piece of the pie, and in this case, this piece of the pie was 116 points. So very beautiful. That's all I needed. I don't need anything more. I risked heavy to build a buffer for my account, but unfortunately, my copy trader wasn't working, and it only went on my leader account. So there's 1400 win on the leader account. And then I was like, fuck, my copy trader didn't work. So honestly, I wanted to stay on the charts to see if something would happen. And plus, I was on live stream with my Discord, so I didn't want to just leave the boys stranded. So now, after catching this move, I'm not really looking for any other type of long to this area because there's really no need. Um, and then I don't really remember exactly how this trade played out, but I know we ended up mitigating. Okay, yeah. So as you can see, price generates low resistance liquidity, sell side low resistance liquidity before manipulating our 4 hour bearish. So what does this tell you? Okay. So we just tapped into a bearish high time frame PDA, which was the current draw on liquidity. Now it's just a massive imbalance of price up here. You know, we need a bit more fuel to get there. So what does price do? Price opens up another unmitigated 30. So what am I seeing for price? Okay, I see, okay, we are overextended in this current moment. After hitting this 4 hour, I kind of want to see a little bit more of a retrace into this discounted 30-minute bearish or 30-minute bullish to then take us higher. So what am I looking for? I noticed right after we hit the 4 hour, we did get true manipulation with ES. And I know there was a 4-minute entry, a 4-minute IFVG, if it's going to work. And I think that's exactly where it closed, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So the 4-minute IFVG, a lot of people took this, okay? I'm going to tell you exactly why I didn't and why you shouldn't have. Okay, as you can see, as the 4-minute closed, what are we looking at? We're looking at low resistance liquidity. Oops. Low resistance liquidity leading up to our stop loss. That tells you that it's not extremely high resistance, even though it's in a 4-hour bearish. There's low time frame, low resistance, and price does tend to resweep often / stop hunt, and in that case, that makes setups way more higher probability. Do I really want to take this 4-minute bearish to this unmitigated 30-minute with this at my stop loss? No, I do not. I never want to take a trade when I have low resistance at my stop loss. Even though the targets are super clear, we have an unmitigated 30 with low resistance leading up to it, it's still not something I want to put risk on because I really think that we're going to get a stop hunt. That's just how price reacts, okay? So as you can see, everybody who took this 4-minute got absolutely burned, got a stop hunt, internal SMT, inside of a high time frame PDA, with low resistance liquidity leading up to a 30-minute fair value gap. Honestly, this setup is way more A+ than this one. So what did I do? I entered off of this 1-minute IFVG to the downside, going break even at this 3-minute internal low, or the 4-minute closure, and then taking it all the way to the 30-minute unmitigated. So as you can see here, it was a little bit sketchy because we put in a bullish SMT with this level. A lot of people would close that because, hey, look, it's at pretty much a 1-to-1. Maybe they would have dragged their TP down to a 1-to-1 to minimize risk. But bro, this draw was so obvious. In this case, with a 4-hour bearish here, price wouldn't be strong enough to attack this level if both assets aren't ready to distribute off of it. So in this case, we need NQ to hit this 30-minute. Price needs to hit this 30-minute for us to go higher. So in this case, I'm perfectly fine with just holding, staying composed. There's a couple close calls, and then obviously we hit full TP, and this was 170 points. Like, this was an A+ trade. I would take this 10 times out of 10. And I took it on my 2 other follower accounts to, make it make sense, get the nice looking P&L, and as you can see, I'm up 4.8 on the week, but 4.1K in one day. That was my P&L. I can't really pull it up because it was yesterday. And then you see today we're minus 47. That's just break even. And now I'm going to go into today's trade. So these are these 2 trades. Very A+. I took them live in my Discord. Everybody banked yesterday. It was super nice. And I'm going to go over exactly what was on my mind today, this morning. Okay, so coming into the morning, we had, what was it, a 30-minute unmitigated, I think? No. Coming into the morning, I was honestly kind of bearish, just because of this weekly level. We had a SMT at the weekly intermediate low, but then I noticed that the weekly candle hasn't fully closed yet. So this isn't actually a weekly intermediate low because I was thinking that since we swept this on one asset, that this low is no longer protected and we just need a little bit of fuel to take us lower. But in this case, this candle hasn't closed yet on the weekly time frame, so it's still, this low is technically protected still until the weekly time frame closes. So in this case, we had a bullish SMT. After realizing my mistake of being bearish, I, quickly flipped to bullish. All I wanted to see was a good sweep, maybe a Judas, to then catch the move higher. In this case, we had a 1-hour intermediate low right here. Another one here. So personally, I wasn't looking for price to come all the way down to this level. I wanted to maybe see, where was it? There was really no manipulation or no like high time frame key level that you could have worked off of here other than the actual low itself. But we did have a good rejection block here. And in this case, I was kind of open to taking a long off of the rejection block, but I don't really use them that much. And then what do we do? Price puts in a bullish SMT with ES. Okay, puts in a bullish SMT with ES. At this point, this is not true manipulation for me. What true manipulation is when both assets sweep the same level, right? In this case, there's zero true manipulation. All we have is an external SMT. Maybe if we put in an internal SMT, I would be open to taking this position to low resistance liquidity leading up to a 30-minute unmitigated for a 1-to-1, okay? So in this case, I'm not ready for this. I don't want to see this level. I want to see NQ come down and take it to then get true manipulation to then get the actual move higher. What does price do? Puts in an internal SMT while I'm not paying attention, as I was talking to my Discord, which is not really a complaint, but I did miss this setup. When there's an internal and an external SMT, I find there is no need for true manipulation. Price doesn't need to go back down to this key level if we put in an internal and an external SMT. That's showing that one of these assets are the leader, and basically they just don't need to fucking take it because we put in 2 SMTs. There's not really much else to it. And then as you can see, we get a beautiful 1-minute displacement candle right after the SMT, inversing this 1-minute BPR. And also it inversed a 2-minute fair value gap at the same time. So this was what everybody took today. Personally, in the moment, I didn't really like it because I didn't see the internal SMT. But after realizing that this shit was A+ as fuck, it did suck that I missed this. I would have taken it for a 1-to-1 for 90 points. A lot of people did take this exact setup. But yeah, it's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect me missing setups like this. Obviously, it only sucks when you miss certain key factors which would have turned you to take that setup. In this case, that's exactly what happened, so it sucks a little bit more. But I stayed on the charts, I stayed composed. I was honestly not really open to taking anything else because the higher time frame looked really, really bad. We had rejection wicks everywhere. We already took this low resistance and London session high. Just printing rejection wicks on buy side and sell side. We're inside of a massive imbalance over here as well, so I was just like really open to just staying off the charts. But the only reason I stayed on was because of my live stream, and I didn't want to leave the boys hanging. So might as well go through some scenarios that I wanted to look for, and that's exactly what I did. I saw that we were opening up this 50-minute fair value gap at 10:15. That tells me that, okay, we're extremely bullish after this level with this great displacement. Even though we put in this massive rejection wick, I'm still really open to seeing prices higher to our external draws and liquidity, right? So we open up this 15-minute fair value gap. I'm looking for a con. We tap into this 15-minute, and NQ or ES right now was inside of a 5-minute fair value gap, so we had true manipulation. I'll pull it up on the 30-second chart on Trade-Evade. This is actually the executions that I took. As you can see, we tapped into this 15-minute bullish, got an internal SMT right here, and I don't think we got an external SMT, but we got an internal SMT with a little bit more confirmation inside of a high time frame PDA. Some people took this 30-second long of this closure, but for more confirmation, I wanted to see a change in state of delivery, and in this case, we got a closure here, change in state of delivery, and another closure with great displacement. So I entered my position there going break even at this 5-minute. It was a very, very quick break even, but if we were bullish, I wanted to see us flush through this level very, very quick. And as you can see, it got break even very, very fast, and it obviously saved me from a loss, which I'm very grateful for. But the only time to go break even is when your stop loss is threatened, and in this case, this 5-minute was really threatening my stop loss. So, anyways, these were the 2 past days of trading that I took. It's unfortunate. I could have brought up the P&L quite a bit for this, but if you're thinking about P&L, then you're thinking about the wrong shit. All right. So that is my trade recap for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.